Welcome to the presentation of the module Classification of Axes, which belongs to the Perceived Quality Assurance Framework. The switch from the conventional means of teaching to the use of online resources for the design and delivery of e-learning solutions highlighted the need to address the gap in quality assurance in a VET online environment. With this in mind, the Perceive framework was created consisting of three axes, which are the following ones: teachers and staff, students, and context. The first axis, the one of the teachers and the staff, covers all the aspects of a quality assurance framework that involves the skill, training, competencies, and capacities of teachers to deliver high-quality online learning. In other words, it measures the ability to adapt from a conventional teaching environment of the classroom to a virtual one without hindering the academic progress and satisfaction of their students. It is comprised of three aspects: support, qualifications and prior experience, and professional development and upskilling. Regarding the first aspect, the Perceive framework evaluates on-demand access of VET teachers and staff to technical, administrative, and social support. Social support is as important as technical provisions for high-quality e-learning, including guidance from librarians, counselors, and ICT consultants. Now, regarding the second aspect, qualifications and prior experience, the Perceive framework evaluates e-learning qualifications and experience of both teachers and staff. Functions, processes, and key performance indicators assess current competencies and relevant experience. Now, about the professional development and upskilling aspect, the Perceive framework evaluates VET institutions' capacity to provide upskilling and professional development opportunities for teachers and staff. The framework covers provisions and strategies to monitor and update qualifications which need to be regularly revised to stay up to date with the sector needs. The students' axis refers to the needs, challenges, and unique expectations that they need in order to successfully complete their education and gain the planned knowledge and qualifications. The Perceive Quality Assurance Framework is thus to cover the extent to which those needs are effectively addressed. It is comprised of three aspects: admission and progression, student assessment, and support and information. Concerning the admission and progression aspect, the Perceive framework assures the academic recognition of qualifications and validates institutions' communication with students regarding admission requirements, workload, and pedagogical model. The framework evaluates the existence of process to recognize qualifications for international students and enhance admission and motivation to complete the course. Regarding the student assessment aspect, the quality assurance framework in VET e-learning includes mechanisms for clearly communicated student assessment. The framework considers issues such as advanced publication of assessment methods, assessment by more than one examiner, consistent assessment, and provisions to tackle plagiarism. Now, regarding support and information, the Perceive framework should include support for social engagement and participation, as well as adequate budgetary provisions for support services. The framework should also validate the institution's information management, including registration, distribution of learning materials, student performance records, and means of communication between teachers and learners. Moving on to the third axis, the axis of context. The axis of context is the most wide one, and it encompasses all those features of a training program that can be evaluated through the institutional structure, the available resources, and the overall structure of the course. It includes 6 aspects: training material content, structure of the online learning environment, interactivity of the platform and communication, flexibility, resource allocation, and institutional vision. Beginning with the first aspect of context, the Perceive framework evaluates the training material content aspect, which considers the expertise of developers and the effective use of digital media to enhance the learning experience in the online environment. The adaptation of training material in e-learning takes into account the mode of course delivery, and the Perceive framework indicators address the extent of course specialization, copyright issues, and institutional policies for producing or selecting training materials. The second aspect, the structure of the online learning environment, is evaluated continuously in the perceived framework to ensure adaptability and flexibility. The framework considers the selection of the virtual environment in line with the pedagogical and technical considerations and emphasizes user-friendly features such as structured communication and access to academic search engines. Now, about the third aspect, interactivity of the platform and communication, the Perceive framework evaluates the provisions made for communication and interaction among learners and teachers in e-learning, including forums, online gaming, and asynchronous communication. Processes and KPIs related to facilitating communication, adopting new ways for interaction, and aligning communication methods to students' needs are considered while respecting institutional infrastructure, budget, and course objectives. Regarding the fourth objective, the Perceive framework assesses the flexibility of online course delivery in terms of location, time, duration, language of instruction, accessibility and scope, and how they are adapted to meet the pedagogical needs of the target group. The level of pedagogical flexibility in the online course may vary depending on the field of study. Moving on, the resource allocation aspect of the Perceive framework considers the reallocation of resources from physical to technical infrastructure, upskilling of teachers and staff, workload shift in working hours, and marketing of e-learning courses to reach new target groups. Resource allocation also affects other aspects in the framework, as it is dependent on the availability of funds and other resources. As for the last aspect, institutional vision is a crucial aspect for designing a holistic quality assurance framework for e-learning and should cover the long-term vision of the institution and its common goals. The Perceive framework assesses the strategic management initiatives, engagement, and feedback from staff and students, and has a strategy plan in place that includes research, quality assurance, development activities, and alliances for short, medium, and long-term objectives. To conclude, the Teachers and Staff Axis consists of support, qualifications and prior experience, and professional development and upskilling aspects. The Students Axis consists of admission and progression, student assessment, support and information aspects. And the Context Axis consists of 6 aspects: training material content, structure of the online learning environment, interactivity of the platform and communication, flexibility, resource allocation, and institutional vision. We thank you for your attention.